Hi. I want to introduce an idea to you that's something we call the culture of honor here at Love Gospel Church, and we've learned it from other great ministries also, but we've adapted it, made it our own, and we define ourselves by it. We find the concept in the Bible that God is a God of honor, and that the culture of heaven is really a culture of honor. What I mean by that is every place has its own culture. Every nation, even from state to state, region to region within a country, there's differences in culture, the traditions, the values, the ways they talk, and the foods they eat. That's all called culture. Well, heaven actually has a culture itself, and the culture of heaven comes from God, because the culture of any place comes from the leadership that introduced that culture and established that culture. God is the leader of heaven, of course, and so the culture of heaven actually comes from God. And the culture of heaven is a culture of honor. Now, as Christians, we're living in this world, and we're living in the culture of this world, but we come from another place. We're born-again citizens of heaven, and we have a different culture that we're learning to live by. We're learning to understand and embrace this culture. It's the culture of heaven. And our prayer is, your kingdom come, God, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And so we're learning to bring the culture of heaven into our own hearts, into our own minds and thinking and our ways, first of all. And then we're learning to introduce the culture of heaven and the ways of heaven to the people around us, that we can influence the people in our lives, in our circle of influence, that we can give them a taste of what heaven is like by the way that we treat them and the culture that we bring. And so I want to introduce to you the concept that the culture of heaven, the culture of the kingdom of God, is a culture of honor. And what I mean by that is that honor is a word that really means value. When you honor somebody, you are showing them the great value that they have. If you were to honor a king or a president or an ambassador, you'd be treating them in a very, very high way. You'd be treating them in a way that shows the value that they have, very respectful, very honoring. And so in a culture of honor, everybody has great value. Everybody is someone to be honored. And as Christians, we're learning to embrace a culture of honor, a value system of honor, and to treat people that way. The founding principle of this culture is actually seen in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, one of my favorite verses of the Bible, where God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them have dominion on the earth." Leaving out a few words there, but that's the basic idea. God said, "Let us make man in our image and in our likeness." And so what that means is, as human beings, we were created in the image of God, we were created in the likeness of God, and that means that we are valuable and precious. Every single human being, every human person is created in the image of God, is valuable and is precious. What this means is that we need to see every person as having great value and treat them with honor, because that's the culture of heaven. That's the value that God has given people. In the world, part of the culture of the world is to deny the value of people. In fact, part of the culture of this world really is that people are some kind of virus. People are some kind of garbage and have no worth and no value. And when a family, for instance, is infected by that spirit of the world, really, people within a family begin to treat each other as if they have no value. A husband and a wife treat each other as if they have no value. Parents treat their children as if they have no value. Lots of criticism, lots of negativity, lots of selfishness, that type of thing. And when that culture infects a family, it destroys the family, it destroys the fabric of the family, it destroys people's hearts, their souls, their self-worth, their futures. It's very, very destructive and very, very damaging. But when we embrace the culture of heaven, as God says in this verse, we are made in His image and in His likeness. Every person is valuable and precious. Your husband or wife is valuable and precious. Your child, your children, your grandchildren are valuable and precious. Your loved ones, your neighbors, your coworkers, people around you are valuable and precious. And when you look in a mirror, the person you see in that mirror is valuable and precious. When you adopt the culture of heaven and the culture of honor, it affects how you see God, how you see yourself, and how you see the people around you. You'll see God not as somebody who's angry at you, wants to judge you, wants to beat you up. You'll see God as someone who created you in His image and assigned you great value, and He sees you as a person worthy of honor. And if we're broken, He fixes us, He heals us, He saves us, He loves us, He redeems us. But we have value and we have worth. And when you look at God, you think of God now as someone who assigns you great honor and values you highly, someone who's for you. When you look in the mirror and you see yourself as a person of value and worth. You see yourself as a person worthy of even treating yourself with honor and seeing the value that you have and living your life that way and treating yourself that way. But then also, when you look around at the people in your life, your spouse, if you're married, children, grandchildren, if you have that, friends, people that are around you, you begin to recognize that every person has great worth and great value. They may not know it, and they may not act that way. They may not live that way, they may not see themselves that way, and they may not treat you or anyone else that way because they may be damaged, they may be broken. But as a person who knows the culture of heaven, you see everybody as having great value. And when you treat people with honor and value, they get a taste of heaven. They get a taste of God's love, and it makes them want more. And you're actually bringing the culture of heaven into the world around you.